Hello, this is Theodore at Lies of the Devil. Go to liesofthedevil.com and sign up for our newsletter. We're at the front line in a spiritual warfare to rip souls away from Satan and to deliver them to Jesus Christ. Now, a couple days ago, the guys that broke the news on Planned Parenthood selling baby parts, they got 15 felonies. And I was going to do a video on that, but I was like, there's more to it. I'm going to wait. Well, come to find out, the California Attorney General and the people on the prosecution team, they were paid by Planned Parenthood. These politicians and attorneys were paid by Planned Parenthood to go after the whistleblowers, the people that showed proof, video proof of them selling baby parts, Planned Parenthood selling baby parts. So let me get this straight. Let me just reiterate this again. So the California Attorney General was paid to give felonies to the whistleblowers. That's basically what happened, people. That's exactly what happened. The resurgent Planned Parenthood. Corruption alert. Planned Parenthood donated thousands to California Attorney General. About $3,000 to be exact. He's not alone. And talking about the California Attorney General Xavier Becerra. He's a Democrat, of course, California. Prior to his appointment as California's Attorney General, Mr. Becerra was a recipient of $3,000 altogether from Planned Parenthood during his 2012 and 2014 congressional campaigns. He's not alone, however. Kamala Harris, who's also a Democrat, who preceded Mr. Becerra as Attorney General, received $2,600 from Planned Parenthood during her Senate campaign last year. Prior to that, Harris worked directly with Planned Parenthood to craft legislation, specifically criminalizing the activities of Center for Medical Progress, the people that leaked the videos that Planned Parenthood was selling baby parts. Meanwhile, since 2012, Planned Parenthood went on to donate over $2.5 million to Democrat politicians in California. They bought, as a 501c3, it's against the rules for them to be trying to get involved in politics, especially paying people off. And Planned Parenthood has been doing that. And how come the IRS isn't going after Planned Parenthood? So Planned Parenthood basically has been paying and bought off all the politicians in California. And this guy went to trial in California. He got 15 felonies. He was convicted of 15 felonies for privacy laws. This country it's crazy. This country is absolutely nuts. Our souls are on the line. People's souls are on the line. We're in a spiritual warfare, people. Felony charges are a disturbing overreach for the duo behind the Planned Parenthood sting videos. This is an editorial by somebody at the LA Times who's probably has sympathetic to Democrats in some shape or form. But there's no question that anti-abortion activist David Daledian surreptitiously recorded healthcare and biomedical services employees across the state of California with the intent of discrediting the healthcare provider, Planned Parenthood. I'm gonna say this. You know, anybody that's doing evil, they need to be exposed. And Planned Parenthood is caught selling baby parts, and I'm going to go into who they're actually selling baby parts to and what they're doing to the baby parts. We're talking about human beings here. Kudos. I'm so glad this guy caught them on video admitting that they're criminals. Something his heavily edited videos failed to do, which is to discredit Planned Parenthood. Look across the internet. Planned Parenthood's going down. People are tired of them. They want them to be funded. But that doesn't mean that California Attorney General Xavier Becerra should have charged Daledian and his co-conspirator Susan Merritt with 15 felony counts, one for each of the 14 people recorded, and the 15th for conspiracy. It's disturbingly aggressive. There's a guy, Project Veritas, and he has journalists go and record government employees giving people money, showing prostitutes how that they can write off a bunch of expenses on their tax forms or whatever as a prostitute, how to get away with prostitution. He films these people doing evil stuff, and how come he's not being slammed with felonies? You got to ask yourself that, and he's doing it all across the U.S. Before we get into that, let's do this. Let's just watch. Let's hear Planned Parenthood from their own dirty mouths what they're doing.
It's not a matter I feel about it coming out intact, but I got to worry about my staff and people's feelings about it coming out looking like a baby. We have the people who do our paperwork for the fetal death certificates. They email us calling them babies. Baby this, baby that, baby so-and-so. And I'm like, that's creepy.
Yeah, that's...
Is there any standard procedure for verifying signs of life?
Well, the thing is...
That doesn't go in a chart.
I mean, the key is you need to pay attention to who's in the room, right? My biceps appreciate when the ditch works.
Really?
So,
it's in the biceps when you're doing a
It
D&E?
does not take me any longer to complete the procedure, but it takes more force. So I have to hit the gym for this. I just got to hit the gym.
Let's go to the gym.
Yes, please share the video. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And this woman is just sitting there laughing like, my biceps. And she's sitting there bragging about this. And then she's happy when the actual digoxin, whatever it's called, hits the baby and kills the baby, because the baby just, at that point you're dead, right? So it's easier to take the baby out. So as she's trying to rip the baby out of the womb, the baby's struggling, trying to fight. Okay? And as soon as the drug hits the baby to kill the baby's body's loosened and she can take it out easier. And she's laughing about that. It is so gross. It makes me want to cry. God have mercy on this country. President Donald Trump, figure out a way to defund Planned Parenthood now. Don't wait for the next healthcare bill to come across to the legislators. We need to figure out how to defund these people now. No more taxpayer money going to abortions. You want to get an abortion, you pay for it. There's tons of Christian organizations who would love to adopt babies. Tons of them. And these people are just killing them off, sacrificing them to Bell.
Welcome back to Hannity. So the sale of aborted fetuses by Planned Parenthood may not only be the only wrongdoing uncovered by the Center for Medical Progress. In fact, a high-ranking Planned Parenthood doctor was also caught on tape discussing her potential compliance with some pretty unethical practices involving patients receiving abortions. Now, please be advised that the video we're showing is extremely graphic. It's disturbing. You don't want your children watching. Ready? Watch this.
If our usual technique is suction at 10 to 12 weeks, and we switch to using an iPass or something with less suction in order to increase the odds that will come out as an intact specimen, then we're kind of violating the protocol that says to the patient, we're not doing anything different in our care of you. And to me, that's a kind of a specious little argument, and I wouldn't object to asking Ian, who's our surgeon that does the cases, to use an iPass at that gestational age in order to increase the odds that he was going to get an intact specimen. But I do need to throw it out there as a concern, because the patient is signing something and we're signing something saying we're not changing anything in the way we're managing you just because we agreed to give tissue.
Pretty grotesque. Joining me now, the man behind the new campaign that's exposing Planned Parenthood's unethical behavior from the Center for Medical Progress. David Dalladine is with us. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, Sean. How are you?
All right.
So this brave young man goes out and he exposes just how disgusting this whole thing is with Planned Parenthood, and he gets felony charges for doing that from people who've been paid by Planned Parenthood in California. There should be protests all across America right now for this type of behavior, for the government colluding with evildoers like this to try to hurt somebody who just wanted to do the right thing. There's actually an employee from Planned Parenthood, a nurse, who said that she could no longer work there anymore because people were just, they would take the babies out and then they would inspect them, make sure, oh, all the organs are there, good, put them in this pile so that we can sell them. You know what I mean? The director. Or something like that. It was a nurse. It was a nurse that So, I mean, this stuff is out there. People, you need to research it. Now, here's where it gets really creepy. There's a movie called Soylent Green. It's a science fiction film. It's in the year 2022, when post-apocalyptic, where people are starving in the streets or whatever. And so a bunch of these politicians and businessmen come up with a food. It's a synthetic food called Soylent Green. It has all the nutrients you need, to survive or whatever, and it tastes really yummy. Okay, and well, let's just watch the trailer, and then I'll tell you what is in Soylent Green. This goes hand in hand with Planned Parenthood selling baby fetuses and livers to cell research companies who are then using it as additives in food. No joke. Hold on, I'm going to show you all that.
But the people are the... What is the secret of Soylent Green? New York City, in the year 2022. Nothing runs anymore. Nothing works. But the people are the same. And the people will do anything to get what they need.
This movie is from Warner Brothers, the same people that are making the serial killer film It from Stephen King that we just did a video on. Yep, that's who these people are.
This is the police.
What they need most is Soylent Green.
The supply of Soylent Green has been exhausted. I see your hands.
Officially, she's furniture. She comes with the apartment. She belongs to the tenant.
How many times you been in trouble with the police, Cheryl?
Never.
Can't hear you.
Never.
Captain Hatcher. First, he wanted this case solved.
Simonson. What do you say?
It was an assassination.
Now, he just wants it closed.
Who bought you? High and hot, and they want this case closed permanently. Their way. Now you...
So the detective who is launching the investigation into the company who is killing people and making food out of them suddenly closes the case because he was paid off, and they don't know how long he was paid off for. I mean, a lot of these movies, they're straight up from the people that do these type of crimes in America. They conduct these crimes. And they're pre-programming people to just enjoy it. We're going to be doing this. I know that it's entertainment to you, and it's really happening in real life, but just fall asleep. Watch the TV, the flicker rate, the patents that are out there that says that the flicker rate on the television is there to hypnotize you. Don't worry about that. Just watch your TV. Enjoy entertainment. And then we're going to sell the baby parts off to stem cell research, who are going to use it for food additives like the sci-fi film Soylent Green that we showed you guys 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. It's just entertainment. These people are sick. And so this guy's paid off in the movie, and Charlton Heston, I think that's the actor, he ends up finding out that the actual what's in the food is what's in Soylent Green, the government is making or manufacturing, these companies are manufacturing, it's actually human people. And now we're going to go into stem cells and how Planned Parenthood has been selling off their intact baby parts to these companies who are in then turn like bids out on the internet, putting out, hey, you can buy this fetal tissue, this liver from a little baby for $610. Put it in your little shopping cart on the internet and buy it, and we'll ship it out to you. Here we go. Soylent Green. It's not just people, it's delicious. Kraft, Pepsi, and Nestle using aborted babies for flavor additives. The 1973 science fiction film Soylent Green was about food produced from human body parts. It appears Kraft Foods, Pepsi Corporation, and Nestle are creating a new wave of products using aborted baby parts provided by Seminex and STEM Express. Science fiction is now science reality. Seminex, and they say that, oh, we're using the proteins of the baby, the aborted baby, the fetal tissue. We're using the cells, the proteins in the cell in their liver to create synthetic flavoring, but we're not actually putting baby cells in the food. We're just using it as test subjects to create to create flavoring. But that's a lie. So the aborted human fetal cell line is called HEK293, and it is used to see how the human palate will react to synthetic flavors. Since most of today's processed foods lack flavor, companies like Seminex are hired to develop flavors on their own. So today's processed foods lack flavor, and they're not natural. The foods aren't natural. We just got done talking to a good friend, Deborah. You know, they put butter and margarine next to each other, and they see where the ants will congregate and eat. They won't touch the margarine. So these processed foods, it's all about keeping you alive, but also slowly killing you off with processed food so that they'll just continue making money, and they'll just create slop. I mean, look at the chicken nuggets for McDonald's is literally putty. Okay, most of their hamburgers are most of it's soy. It's not even beef. I can get on. I'll get into all that stuff later. I'm trying not to make these videos longer than they should be, but what Seminex won't tell the public is that they're using HEK293 human embryonic kidney cells taken from electively aborted babies to produce those receptors. What exactly does that mean? You know, they could have easily chosen animal, insect, or other morally obtained human cells to use as expressing the G protein for taste receptors, but they don't do that. They do baby parts. Why do they do that? Well, a company called STEM Express describes itself as a multi-million-dollar company that supplies human blood tissue products, primary cells, and other clinical specimens to biomedical researchers. It also boasts of offering the largest variety of raw material in the industry. Here we go. Here's a clip. You can buy it online. You can buy a fetal liver online from a baby. And then it just goes on all the different companies. I mean, there's so many companies that are using this stuff. And whether they're actually putting babies' fetus tissues into the actual product for flavoring, or whether they're using the actual proteins in the cells to create synthetic flavors and syrups that then they add into the food, doesn't matter. The fact is that Planned Parenthood got caught taking babies, intact babies, and selling them to STEM Express, who then sells the body parts to research facilities like Seminex, who are then creating synthetic flavors and giving them to Pepsi. You know, Pepsi can't outright say, "Hey, we'll buy your baby fetuses, and our labs will conduct the test to make the flavoring." No, they can't do that. So they have to have all these different companies, you know, hide the fact that Pepsi and all these, you know, it's just a shell game. It's all a game. And how do we know that STEM Express was involved in this Planned Parenthood cover-up of selling baby parts? Well, because Washington Times reports that they dropped their lawsuit. They dropped their lawsuit at the last second. A middleman in the market for fetal tissue has dropped its lawsuit against a pro-life journalist who accused it of partnering with Planned Parenthood to profit from the sale of baby body parts from abortions. Why would they do that? The investigation also found STEM Express may have violated federal privacy laws based on its collaboration with abortion clinics in the harvesting of fetal tissue. STEM Express technicians knew about clinic abortion schedules in advance, the report said, and communicated with clinics while abortions were taking place in order to procure certain types of fetal tissues, presumably before patient consent had been obtained. The report said these practices were aimed at maximizing profit and may have violated federal HIPAA regulations. STEM Express ended its partnership with Planned Parenthood after the CMP video surfaced. The guys that the whistleblowers surfaced 18 months ago. It maintained any expenses associated with the trade for fetal tissue were reimbursements for transfer and storage costs. So they dropped their lawsuit at the last minute because they didn't want to be investigated. They didn't want to be subpoenaed. So they dropped off the lawsuit. I'm going to get off this. I'm it's 20 minutes. There's so much information that could just be unloaded to you people, but it's all disgusting. It's all sick. And, people, we need to demand Planned Parenthood be defunded right now. People want to get an abortion, go pay your own money to get an abortion. And we'll see how long it takes for Planned Parenthood and all these stem cell research companies. We'll see how long they stay in business when people actually have to pay for their own abortions rather than take free money from taxpayers. We'll see how long they last. They won't last very long.